Hi everyone, I'm Priya, CFRE's Media Director, and today I'll be speaking to Anna, the Executive Director of Canadian Music Therapy Fund. Welcome, Anna. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I just think let's just jump right in. As the Executive Director at the Canadian Music Therapy Fund, what role does music play in your own life?
Well, music has always played a huge role in my life. I actually come from a musical family. My mother's a classical musician. I myself graduated from a choir school in Hungary back in the day. And basically my entire career up until this past year has been in the performing arts, mostly in classical music. So it's basically second nature for me to be around music. And I make sure I have two young girls and for music to be present in their lives on an ongoing basis. So we sort of live and breathe music in the household.
That's like the best answer you want to hear from someone who does the work that you do. So that's great that like you're deeply rooted in music, which kind of goes into the next thing I wanted to talk about. How does music contribute to your own like wellness?
Well, it sort of goes back to the previous answer that I think music for me and for us in the family and sort of the community that I'm around, whether it's friends or colleagues, is music is not really just an art form. It really is a forum for healing and for connection. Um, and the funny thing is that coming from such a classical background, it has always been my go-to and my preference. But having girls at an age who are forming their own musical taste, I'm getting introduced to a lot of very present-day contemporary popular singers and music, which I, to be honest, have absolutely loved. So, whenever we drive somewhere and they get their chance to pick the songs they listen to, I have really, really enjoyed that. So it's just in terms of the wellness and joy that music can bring, even if it's a kind of music that maybe previously you wouldn't have um, listened to or thought you might enjoy, just kind of gives you a different feeling and how
Mhm.
you experience life and yourself and see life and the world through the eyes of other people with the music you listen to. So it's actually quite fantastic.
I like your answer. It makes me think of like music has been something that helped me recognize like I was growing or like just growing up in general. So like I was a huge like Green Day fan in like middle school and I still am like a huge Green Day fan, but it will remind me of like when I first listened to them, like the place that I was in and kind of like the journey of like how I've grown into a young adult. And they're even like doing tours and releasing new music now. So it's kind of like I've grown as the band has like continued to grow, which I think is so cool.
Well, it's such a defining factor in one's life, the music you used to listen to as a kid or then as a teenager, and it really accesses the kind of emotions that very few other things, I would say nothing actually does as much as music does. So I love that too for you.
Well, I'm glad we're both passionate about music. So let's dive in more into the organization. Your
Perfect.
organization has been helping people since 1994. Could you kind of give me a little description on the services you offer?
Yes, we do offer a wide variety of services. So we've been around, yes, if it's 31 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think it's no small feat for a micro charity to be around for this long, especially in a field that's, slightly misunderstood or underrepresented in general. Um, so we're a national organization and we do national grants and scholarships. So that's one of the programs that we do offer to music therapy students as well as certified music therapists across Canada. One of our great supporters is George Strombolopoulos. So he offers us one of his gifts to us is allocated towards scholarships, which is fantastic. Then we also have a number of community-based programs all over the city. So we have a roster of about 13 music therapists right now who go out there and work off-site in different settings. We also have a music therapy center at Bloor and Dufferin. Um, which is where we offer low cost and subsidized music therapy services for basically anybody who needs it, which in my mind, I think everybody actually needs it. Um, and then the last thing which we launched most recently is a corporate and community partnership where we are introducing music and wellness programs into the workplace, whether it's a team building or a leadership activity. We're out there sort of in the workplace in the corporate world bringing this service that's aligned to what each group defines as their primary need at the moment. So it's exciting.
Again, I keep saying you guys do amazing work, but just compared to like what I know in the nonprofit industry, I think you guys are striking something totally different. Like I can't say I can name many other services that offer the same services as you. So I think that's like a great thing about you guys that you're unique and you see like the needs of people and you find unique and creative solutions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that and recognizing that. I think for as small as we are as mighty and strong and so passionate about what we do. I do have to say, music therapists. I mean, I'm new to mu music therapy as a profession as well, and they truly are some of the most passionate and kindest, most patient people, and so genuinely warm and giving and accepting people that it's been extremely inspiring to see this work. And yeah, I just wish more people, I just wish more people would know and see what this can do.
Well, hopefully after this interview airs out, you'll get more attention. So
Thank
I kind of
you.
wanted to dive into the people you serve. So I know you serve children with autism, people experiencing mental health challenges, and older adults facing cognitive decline. And I just wanted to know, like, how are your programs and just organization in general in more depth able to support these people?
So I would say it works at three key levels. One is direct service. So people just get in touch with us. We have an intake call and then see what the needs are and offer direct service of a music therapist, either at the center or off-site, whether it's individual or group setting. Then, as I mentioned earlier, there's the granting on the scholarship program for certified music therapists and or students across Canada. And then we do a lot of advocacy and awareness work and education as well. Just to tell the world about what music
Mhm.
therapy's impact is and working towards just better recognition and funding in the field.
Yeah, for sure. I guess like a lot of nonprofits, people don't know why they exist. So like it's kind of on the nonprofit to kind of show people like the impact your services have, which is like so weird because obviously you know because you work there and you deal with people and clients, but it's educating everyone else who may not know.
Yes, and I think like many other things, until you experience it firsthand,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get to break through the noise, so to speak. Because there are so many great organizations doing great work and so many charities doing really transformative work in the communities that they serve. But words only go so far, and
People
you
are
know,
visual.
people are visual and experiential too. That's the other thing that I think until you see this happening either with a loved one, whether it's a
Mm.
child or a grandparent or a colleague or whoever, and to see the immediate impact, it's very difficult to put into words, but we're out there and we're doing it. So,
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Sometimes
yeah,
if it's not directly happening to you, people are kind of detached from that
yeah.
because they don't know like what someone experiencing these things could feel like, or if they don't know anybody, it's like very hard for people to, I guess, be empathetic in those issues.
Yes, and I mean, I think as a people, Canadians are very empathetic and
Yes.
compassionate people, which is very, very lovely. But I would say firsthand, experiencing and seeing this work is what's going to, make you turn the corner, I think. Just realizing how powerful this
Mhm.
can be, um, in everybody's life, I think so.
So shifting gears, I will admit, through my research, I totally stalked the website because I was so intrigued to see like what you guys do and what you have to offer. And I noticed you advertise a 30-minute free consultation. And I'm just wondering what happens during that call.
So what happens in that call is there's an assessment of what the client's goals and needs are. You explore what the session options are. Then our center manager, who takes care of the intake call, uh, not tries, but matches you with a therapist. And then the goal discussion happens with the therapist in that first session, and then you take it from there. And it's very easy, it's very accessible. We have just a button on the website. You go
Mhm.
and just get in touch with us there. And a 30-minute call, I would say, is also quite a nice amount of time just to
Yeah.
gauge, on both sides, to see what the right fit is and what the goals and the needs are.
That sounds great. I mean, you get to hear questions from the person calling, and that I guess helps guide them through and like soothe them through like what the process is and make them feel more comfortable when they get to the therapist point.
Oh, absolutely. And I do have to say our wonderful center manager has just the perfect personality to do that. Such a calming, welcoming presence, and helps me a lot in my role too to have her around. So, um, yes, I think we couldn't have a better person doing those intake calls. Yeah.
So, something that really stuck out to me was in your community report from 2023 to 2024. And it talks about this campaign you have, Music Therapy Moves Us. And I just would love to hear more about it and why it's so important for the people you serve.
So, Music Therapy Moves Us is our annual fundraising campaign, which is always aligned with Music Therapy Month, which is March. And last year's campaign, which we actually exceeded our goal, a wonderful testament to our supporters and how powerful, again, I'm using the same word this is.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Focused on supporting older adults in cognitive decline. And, so much research, and there's so much evidence on how much music can help people with these challenges express themselves, recall memories that otherwise are just embedded in a place that are very difficult to bring up, and to connect with loved ones, and really just make the quality of life better for people struggling with these challenges, both themselves, for their caregivers, their caretakers, for family members. It's just a tremendous source of not only comfort, but of accessing, um, yeah, like I said, memories, but also words that come out through music that normally in verbal communication are often quite difficult for
Mhm.
people, but through music, somehow we're able to access um, those verbal abilities.
So you kind of already touched upon this, but I wanted to see, do you have a specific example of like someone who you've helped and the impact it had on their life? A memory they recalled, for instance?
Well, I have a few examples. I have one of my own, and as somebody who's not a music therapist, I'm not in a lot of music therapy sessions. It's such an intimate setting that we
Mhm.
really respect that space for the client slash patient and the music therapist. But I was lucky enough to observe a session once with two people who were uh, completely nonverbal. And and with severe mobility issues as well, in a music therapy session where when they came into the room, there was practically no communication happening with them. And then through the music, it was incredible to see what that awoke in them. And you could see that whatever they could use to communicate, whether it was some
Mhm.
sounds that they were able to make, and through the eyes, and being able to tell us something that otherwise without the music would not have been possible, was really one of the most moving experiences I've ever had through music. And I've seen a lot of beautiful music in my life and performances and incredible artists, but just seeing the power of music in
Hmm.
this setting where you think, what could possibly happen? And it did happen. And similarly, as I mentioned earlier, with older adults, with the cognitive challenges, we have seen people who for months didn't speak, and then through, music therapy sessions, slowly started to express themselves verbally, and very similar responses from children with autism who can have a difficulty expressing themselves verbally suddenly open up through music, whether it's a songwriting exercise, whether it's playing an instrument, whether it's just not just, but a sort of a receptive situation where they're listening to music or they're being asked to participate in the music making. It's just a way for people to express themselves that normally they wouldn't be able
Hmm.
to, either verbally or in writing or any other shape or form.
It sounds like massive breakthroughs just continue to happen. And it also is like a testament to how dedicated your staff are into like helping people.
Yes, I mean, I casually say to people, this is a whole different beast, the music music therapist. It's that's truly the word. It is, they are dedicated and kind and truly out there making the world a better place for people. And so many people are struggling these days for so many reasons.
Mm.
It's not an easy time to exist these days, no matter where you sit or what your experience is. But a lot of people are facing a lot of challenges. And post-pandemic, actually, that's when we really saw the demand for the service just kind of skyrocketed.
Oh, that's really interesting. I would have thought, I guess, like COVID would have just like impacted it way more.
So COVID, we did pivot to virtual sessions, obviously,
Mhm.
during COVID, but then the real increase came as we were coming out of COVID. That's when people were realizing the effect that it had on them and all the
That
isolation
makes
for so
sense.
long. Yes, it was interesting because I actually wasn't around at the organization during COVID, so I had to ask um, staff about what that actually looked like during those years, and it was very interesting to get that statistic of seeing a larger increase in requests for service as we were coming out of the
Mhm.
pandemic. Um,
I guess a lot of people were just more mindful of like them because you had to focus on yourself essentially during like lockdown and all that stuff. You weren't out and like integrating with the world. So it makes sense that your services increased, which is good. People were able to recognize they needed to seek help and they got that help.
exactly, and just realizing what that kind of isolation can do to mental
Hmm.
health as well. And so yes, I mean, we have an ongoing wait list, and we just try to accommodate, whatever requests come in as much as possible, depending on funding as well, because that's how our subsidies and our sliding
Hmm.
scale works, that if we get funding for the services, then we're able to offer the sliding scale fees to clients who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford a service like this.
Well, your organization has achieved many milestones, like the Fellowship Award in 2004, the designation of March as Music Therapy Month in 2014, and the National Grants Program in 2020. I just want you to touch on like how you guys have evolved because you guys started in 1994, which I can imagine where you are right now is not how you started.
No, it's not how we started. And the fact that we have a center, which is sort of the heartbeat of the charity, on Bloor Street at Dufferin. So we're in a busy spot. Well, we've been there for, I think it's 24 years now. So that's also a bit of a landmark
Yeah.
for us. And well, our impact has basically expanded through more grants and more scholarships across Canada. greater advocacy efforts, so having the government's ear just in
Hmm.
terms of how we can contribute to elder care, our role in dementia care. So there's a lot of advocacy work and conversations happening there, and constantly forming new partnerships, whether it's with hospitals and schools, community organizations. Um, it's just trying to get closer to making this accessible to everyone.
Yeah, you want to foster those connections because in a way you can all kind of help each other, learn from each other. And I think that's like the best way to approach these things.
Yes, I mean it's people. It's all people in the end, right? People talking to people
Yeah.
and just understanding what the work can do and help spread the word.
So I know we just talked about all the achievements, but I wanted to know like what are the future plans? Like what can we expect from this organization in the coming years?
Well, yeah, I mean that it was one of my questions in my interviews as well. What does growth look like for the organization?
I know
And
it's
I
really hard to like narrow down.
Well, yes and no, because yes, so some of it is easier to define. For example, constantly expanding our
Hmm.
program. So we just want to be able to reach uh, even more communities that we do right now. So geographically reach more communities. And we are getting requests now from outside of our regular area. So we've been hiring new therapists to be able to provide services
Hmm.
outside of where we normally would geographically operate. Um, what we also want to focus on is strengthening corporate partnerships. Obviously, it's something that's needed just to sustain our funding model,
Hmm.
right? Because we do need help. We do need help to be able to do this at an affordable rate for our communities. Advocating for policy change. So basically, being recognized for what we do
Hmm.
and secure more public funding for music therapy, um, and enhancing virtual and community-based services. So same thing, accessibility is a big one. So making sure that more and more communities are able to access this service. I would love to see one day having satellite locations all across Canada.
Yes, that'd be very cool.
That's a little dream I I nurse. Yeah.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of things you want to get to and work on, which I'm glad to hear you guys continue to like expand and grow that passion. So, what can the everyday person do to help support you? How can they help you?
Well, check out what we're all about. We have a very lovely and fun website. Come to our events, spread the word, follow us on social media. If you have the capacity, consider donating to us. I know everybody's stretched and asked for gifts all over the place, but even a little bit really, really does go a long way. And I know we all say the same thing, but it is true. Um, Volunteer, come work with us. There's always work, and it's a great, great team. It's fun. It's a very caring, lovely environment. So look us up and come work with us if you'd like. Yeah.
Well, that's all I had on my end. Thank you so much for doing the interview. It was great speaking to you. And before we kind of disconnect, did you have anything else you want to share with our audience?
Well, I'd just also like to thank you, Priya, for having us on and having your eyes peeled for something like this, because I know, like I said, there's so much going on in the city that is worth talking about and worth covering. But this is one, so we're really just very grateful to have a little bit of airtime to talk about what we do. And if you're out there listening and we can help you, if we can help anybody in your family, in your community, please reach out to us
Mhm.
because we are here and we're here to help.
Yeah,
So
remember, you have that 30-minute consultation you can always look into.
30-minute consultation, musictherapyfund.ca. That's where you find us.
All right, thank you so much, Anna. I'm Priya on CFRE, and we'll see you next time.